Watch out, because we've got a big word incoming.
What do you mean by a big word coming? I'm going to use a word called unbeknownst. I can clearly say, unbeknownst to me, the day before the holiday that was just celebrated, which is Thanksgiving, unbeknownst to me, a package showed up at my door at like, I don't know, I think it was like 8:30 at night. So anyways, this is RC Guy Garage, and if you're interested in seeing what's inside that box, hold tight because we're going to break into it. Looking at the size of the box, I'm pretty confident that I know what's inside this box right here. As I set up the device, I'll allow you to go ahead and check the infinity screen of death. It just goes on forever. Somehow I've lost my favorite knife, but this is a knife that I've had for quite a while. Some people might know this as a butterfly knife. Yeah, this is just a pretty cool knife. I've had this for quite a while, so I'm going to use this to see what's inside that box. And the funny thing is look at the symbol that is on this knife. It almost seems like it was inevitable, huh? I just noticed that. All right, it's a pretty sharp knife. Gotta see what's inside this box here. And like I said, unbeknownst to me, this just showed up out of nowhere. So, just out of curiosity, before this box actually gets opened up, right? I did leave like one of those community posts, and I'm curious to know how many people actually like were part of that community post. And those people that were part of that community post, they're going to be posted right now so that you can see what people were thinking, what was actually inside this box. So once this flap comes open, were you right? Leave a comment down below in the comment section, not the description. Leave a comment down below and tell me if after I flop this flap, if you were right. Ready?
Psych. Did you guys actually think I was going to do an unboxing? Maybe show you what was inside this box? You guys have got to be absolutely out of your minds. No, I'm just kidding. Back to the show.
Hey, dude, check that out. I don't think I could have got that any more perfect. That was not any smoke and mirrors or anything like that. So we have got the Red Cat Racing Kaiju EXT 1/8 scale, brushless, electric, 6S, four-wheel drive, monster truck. I just figured that sounded pretty good. It does look like the box's seal has been opened. I have not opened this, so I'm going to pop this out of the box and see what's going on here. Something I did notice is before I opened up this box right here, before I opened up the box, something that I had noticed right off, like I said, the seal is broken. So I don't know if this box has been opened prior. It does have a past inspection little QC thing here, which that one's not open. But this one right here, this one is open. So you can see we've got the molded roof protection, a 25 kilogram digital coreless servo, which is waterproof, metal geared, Hobby Wing branded 6S brushless ESC, which is a 150 amp waterproof, obviously, you know, dust proof, 3 to 6S capable. Yes, 3S. The original Kaiju, this bad boy right here, the original Kaiju, I actually did run this thing. This vehicle I actually ran on 3S on its first rip. From 3S to 4S and then straight to 6S, and then realized that this vehicle right here was absolutely at home on 4S. Is 6S great? Can it handle it? 100%. This thing has taken so much abuse that for this thing to still be alive is absolutely insane. This thing has been through, I guess what you could call the ringer. And it is back together, and it is ripping again. So, throw this back up there. But we're not here to talk about this one. This one does have a couple of upgrades, which the curiosity is, the upgrades that were available for this truck, are those upgrades the same as this truck? Like, how much has actually changed? You can see it's got a 4068 2100 KV motor, which again is a Hobby Wing motor. So this is a Hobby Wing combo. I think that's pretty cool. The Hexfly is Red Cat's brand of pieces, parts. 1A scale, 4-wheel drive, brushless, 2.4 gigahertz, waterproof electronics. It does have belted Interco Sniper MT replica tires. I had said that this one seemed like it was going to be the Kraton. So like if you were going to compare this to like maybe Arrma, that one's kind of like the Outcast, just because it's a smaller package or a smaller squared off platform. And then this one right here is a little bit longer. I don't believe that the parts are actually red. Pretty sure that the parts are black. It would have been cool if they made the parts red. I just think it would have like visually been a good decision, but they probably can't do that. But it says it has high strength suspension arms and captured rod ends. So again, I'm assuming that everything is compatible with the original Kaiju. I'm gonna go with that. 17 millimeter aluminum hex hubs, which this is Red Cat's version of like the Traxxas version of the hexes. Can you combine them? Yes and no. You can obviously take the Red Cat wheels and stick them onto the Traxxas Max, but you cannot take the Traxxas Max wheels and stick them onto the Red Cat because that's just the way Traxxas works. Tethered body clips. Yeah, they already had tethered body clips, so that's nothing new. So it is good that they're staying with these tethered body clips, because I don't know if it's happened to anybody else, but you pop off a body clip or whatever, and right when it gets to that point, it flips off and then it's gone forever. So it has steel CVA axles with a captured joint, metal internal differential gears. Oh, wait a minute. I better not mean that these are plastic. Yeah, that can't be right? Aluminum coilover shocks with a threaded body, and that's these shocks right here. The front was shorter than the back, so the curiosity is, did they stick with that same design, or did they go with all short, or did they go with all long? So these are shocks that are from the Red Cat Racing Kaiju, the original version, or called V1. The EXT just means extended. So it's not like they remade a completely different vehicle. They basically extended the vehicle. I'm sure, or I'm fairly positive, that most of the parts are interchangeable between the two, which is great, because if maybe you want to upgrade, there you go. Fully enclosed and protected drivetrain. That's nothing new. Everybody does that. Wheelie bar in the rear, which the wheelie bar is phenomenal. I feel, just like what we've brought out before, pretty confident that the wheelie bar is maybe not the same, but very similar, using the same exact wheels, which these wheels right here. The way this wheelie bar is designed, I wish other manufacturers would go this route, because this wheelie bar is ultra strong. The amount of times that I've landed on the back end hitting this wheelie bar and nothing has broken, yeah, unbeknownst to me. Check it out. Kaiju in pearl white. I knew it was a pearl. And then Kaiju in the metallic copper. I wonder what the metallic copper really looks like. On this side, just a couple of graphic pictures. You have a front, back, but that kind of is reminiscent of like the Camaro. Front, the back, the top, the side, and then a kind of like an angled side shot. Keep in mind, battery and charger not included in this model. On this side, you got the white version. See end panel for body color included in the box. Included, comes with the truck and the radio system. Required 4 AA batteries for the transmitter, and a 3 to a 6S LiPo or 8 to 18 cell nickel metal hydride battery, and obviously a battery charger. On this side is, well, the box art for the vehicle that's inside this box. Let's flip this thing around and break it out of its package. So like I said, because this side is already open, I'm just gonna, what I was saying was, when I had picked up the original box kind of like had a, sounded like it had loose parts. It could be like tools and stuff banging on each other inside the box, but let's see what we got here. I can't win, man. It's upside down. All right. So this is the way it's going to go, huh? Oh, check it out. My bag is open. So the seal that was on this bag was ripped wide open. So we've got the manual, so that's why I was hearing stuff. So we got the manual, we got a sticker pack. We got a bind plug with a spare antenna. We have, it looks like this is probably the ESC. So this is the motor and ESC. We got the wrapping that was supposed to be on top of the truck is already off. Oh no. Will I get a used truck? That's all right. Even if it's used, I'm all right. I'm all right. All right. That's, yeah, that's kind of a little funny, huh? I knew I heard stuff banging around. Oh. Oh, check that out. What a disaster here. Anything else? Oh, yeah, so that's what was in there. So inside the box, you got the metal wheel wrench. Might be cool. I don't know. This is definitely a different setup than what I'm used to seeing. And then it does have metal Allen wrenches, which, believe it or not, these, don't throw these away. There are times when having an L wrench is definitely the way to go. Oh, this thing is long, man. You got the radio kind of separate inside the other box. This thing got thrown around pretty good. So start off with the transmitter. It's all molded plastic. It would be nice if they decided to use some type of a grip material on the handles. It is kind of loose in the hand in a sense without having that like a molded like grip handle. This is just, so this is just a plastic. So you can hear and see that it's just a molded kind of like plastic. So this is the RCR 2CE, which is the same radio that came with the Red Cat Racing Kaiju. Well, the original V1, which is like, I don't know, the short version. On the radio itself, we have got, it doesn't stay up. If I remember right, it would stay up. That's kind of annoying. Let me go get the other radio and show you what I'm talking about. So here's the other radio. Oh, it doesn't stay up. Wait a minute. Here's the original Red Cat radio, RCR 2CE. So the only difference is they upgraded or changed just the visual of some of it. The wheel is exactly the same. The handle is exactly the same. The graphics are updated. But what they did change that I did like, now this isn't the radio for the Kaiju, or is it? So what they did change is this is the original layout of how this looked, which was fine. It just has a silver background. What I did notice was that with this one, the lights were just ultra bright, meaning when you turned it on and you went to go look and adjust settings, these lights were so bright, they're almost blinding you. But the layout is exactly the same. Now with this one, what they did is they put on a different cover. So it's these tiny little updates that are done where now, let me show you. I'm going to throw some batteries in these. So here's the original remote. We'll go ahead and toss the batteries in here. This is such a minute thing. Hey, look at that. It has the other spring. If anybody knows what I'm talking about, leave a comment down below. If you know what I'm talking about when I say, hey, it's got the other spring. It's got the last spring. If anybody knows what I'm talking about, leave a comment below. Pretty funny. So here's the original remote. Now, hopefully, once I turn this on, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Now, you can just see how bright that green light is. I mean, that thing is blinding, right? And I know, it seems like such a small thing. Watch this one. Look at that. I mean, it's so much different. I'm going to shut the lights off so you see what I'm talking about. All right, now that it's dark in here, this is what I'm talking about. So we've got the original remote, and just how blinding, how bright these lights are. I mean, to try to even understand how bright this is, I'm trying to shine it like into the camera so you can see what I'm talking about. It is insanely bright. So now with the new remote, it's softer. It's just, there was no need to have it blinding your eyes, But you can see the difference. It's just a softer light. So, yeah. Minor change, but this is what I like about Red Cat. God, that light is so bright. Look at the difference, man. Look at the little bubble thing that it's leaving. See the little thing right here? God, that thing is just bright. Unnecessary. Like I said, yeah, I know. It's such a minor change. What does it matter? It actually does, because the lights on this thing are so dang bright. And I like those little changes. Don't forget to take your batteries out when you're done with them. I mean, you can leave them in, but you leave them in, you're going to end up with corrosion. So the Red Cat Racing Kaiju, sticker-wise, like how the stickers are placed on, not all that great. Looks like they could have done a little bit of a better job. You can see they've got the slices, and what the slices do, you can see the slices, and what the slices do is they make it so that it will conform to a curve, and unfortunately, it's not done very well. The window side stickers look like the window side stickers are coming across the front, which I don't know why they had to do that. But obviously the window is the same body color, is what I'm assuming. Not a big deal. That's more of a nitpick thing. I do wish that this section right here, so this little whip-up section right here, I wish this was a molded plastic. So when the vehicle rolls over, it does contact this section, in which you can see, because my plastic wrapping was off, you can see that there's markings that are on here, and then markings that are on this leading edge. So what I can tell you right now is that if you don't somehow figure out a way to protect these back little pieces right here, this is going to be the first thing that grinds through. Now this vehicle, to me, in my mind, looks like a more of an on-road. I mean, I know it's off-road, but when you think about the original Red Cat Racing Kaiju and you look at these tires are so ultra aggressive that these things bit into whatever terrain was available. Where these tires right here, they're a taller tire, they're a flatter profile, way less aggressive. I did end up venting. I would definitely recommend venting your tires. I did vent the original Red Cat Racing Kaiju tires because what had happened was I ended up with some blowouts. So looking at these, there is no venting on the tire. Obviously the rim is vented. So if you're thinking about running this thing in fine sand or water, definitely vent these tires. And how you do it? How you would do it is vent the lug. Don't vent this section, because that's what I've done. I've since changed and I vent the actual lug. And this is how much I liked those Red Cat Racing Kaiju tires that I pretty much put them on everything. And I'm trying to show you where I vented the lug. You can see the hole right there where I vented it. And venting the lug to me seemed to make more sense because you're not venting the softer part. You're venting a harder section that just seemed like it made sense. Seems like it works. I think the only thing that I'm not positive whether if it makes sense or not is venting a belted tire. And the only reason why I say that is because belted tires are usually designed to hold together under faster speeds, more whatever, right? So if you vent the belted section, do you compromise the belts in any way? Just say you're drilling through or however you puncture your tires, are you ruining the belts? Because the belts are on that treaded section. I wonder. So kind of comparing the two, side by side, back tires are exactly aligned, and you can see, placing up this piece of wood to touch both sides of the front of the tire. And what we'll do is we'll get a measurement. This vehicle right here had headlights with a bumper. This vehicle has no lights. So we have no lights on this one. I kind of don't like that. I really liked the lights on this thing because they were ultra bright. So this one, the Red Cat Kaiju, the original Kaiju, had lights front and rear. Now my rear lights are gone, but that was just, I just didn't put them back in. But the Red Cat Racing Kaiju had front lights and rear lights. I'm wondering, looking at this, can you put? You can. Oh man, that's a good thing. It looks as though you can take the bumper from the original Kaiju and throw it onto the new Kaiju. Now, what about a provision in the back for lights? There are. So there is the same provision in the back, and going along with the rear lights, there is built-in cable management. So that right there, that little tab, is made so this thing can definitely have the rear lights. And obviously you can see the provision is right there to be able to have the lights. And a rear sway bar. Back tires lined up. Just going to give you a size comparison between the two. Kaiju tires lined up. This is how much of a difference we've got. And then going by tread lug pattern. So looking at, almost looks like it's very slightly over 2 inches. I'm looking at, because of the wheels, we're looking at 2 1/4 inch difference. Now that's not necessarily going to be the difference. That's not necessarily going to be the difference because it has a bigger overall tire diameter than the original, so it's probably that extra 1/4 inch. I'm assuming that the new vehicle is actually 2 inches longer. So let's pull this Red Cat Racing Kaiju, the original, out of here and focus more on the original. So looking at the overall sticker placement, it looks all right. Again, you're going to probably want to go over the stickers and just make sure that they're placed on fully, because when the stickers were placed on, you can see there's little sections like in this corner right here. This is just nitpicking, but it's kind of folded over because the decal wasn't placed exactly where it should be. You can see there's a section of the wheel well that's exposed, little section of the sticker that's overlapping the body right here. That's very minor. This is just an RC. Stop your wine bagging. Same thing on the back. Same thing on the back. Just go over the vehicle yourself. Get all those little air pockets out. If you have to, take something where you can maybe poke the holes. What you would do is, if you get an air bubble, if you can't massage it out with your thumbnail, take something, poke a little bit of a hole, and then you can go ahead and get those air bubbles out. The sticker for the taillights looks like it's placed fine. Sticker for the back window is fine. Again, we've got stickers that are overlapping other stickers. So this sticker right here is overlapping the side window sticker. This side window sticker seems like it's all right. Again, just go over it yourself. Red Cat sticker right there. It looks like... Oh, it's funny. There is a division line. So this body, again, nitpicking. The body's not trimmed out exactly squared off. And you can see there's like a little bump down right there where the sticker's more in line. So if that bothers you, obviously you can, go ahead and fix that. Inside the body, looks like inside of the body, this is a pretty cool idea. There's Lexan, there's an extra Lexan reinforcement piece here. Yeah. That's an extra reinforcement of Lexan. I really like that idea. You can see the air scoop held in by 3 screws. Those are the tethers. Kind of like a textured finish inside. The Lexan, seems a little thin. I mean, maybe thin to average. This side seems like it's cut well. The front seems like it's cut okay. That's also a sticker. Ah, even that little detail's a sticker as well. Wow. Pretty crazy on how much is stickered on this thing. Yeah, this is also a sticker. Yeah, so it's a total white body that's all stickered. And like I said, except for, you can see this back panel right here. This back panel is black, and there is a division line right there. Yeah. You can see where the division line is. Right there. So that's paint. Looks like the paint possibly goes all the way across like that. And this is all just an overlay of, yeah, this is a sticker. This is a sticker. That's a sticker. Lots of stickers. Kind of almost reminds me of the Losi SBR 2.0. Except that, the stickers, wow, that was a big bubble right there. So if you can't massage those bubbles out, you're going to have to use like a pin or something to go ahead and get those bubbles out. Enough complaining about the body. This is what we're here for. Shock-wise for the front, it's the same exact shock. This one has a little bit of a different finish than this one. This one looks like a more raw gray, where the original Red Cat Kaiju had kind of like a titanium type of finish, where this is more of a raw gray. You can see that this finish is just a lot more slicker. It looks like it does have upgraded arms, which my original Kaiju does not have. There's two things that happen with these arms. The metal shears off inside the arm, and the originals, some of these arm pieces would actually break. Tires themselves seem to have a stiff tread pattern going across this way, foamed with a soft sidewall. Does seem like it has a soft sidewall. Front suspension wise, exactly what you would expect with these Red Cat big bore shocks. These are a big bore shock. These things are pretty mint, very plush. Everything looks the same. Go ahead and use the supplied wheel wrench. Wheel wrench is a little small, so I do not like the wheel wrench. It's a little, this little handle, I don't know what size fingers they're thinking they're going to get on that, but this wheel wrench needed to have a longer tab. So keep that in mind. This is kind of, it doesn't really fit in the hand right. I don't know what size hand they're thinking it's going to fit that. Hub looks the same. Looks like it does have a provision for, see it's got a little nub right there. You can see it's got a little nub right there. That is a provision for sway bars. There is a provision right there. There's a slot right here to go ahead and throw a sway bar in between with a little capture device. And from what I can see, this thing will accept the front bumper from the original Kaiju. So that's something I'm going to have to really check out. I like the idea of seeing that it looks as though it'll accept that piece. Here's the back of the wheel. Very similar to the original pattern of the Red Cat Racing Kaiju as far as the ribbing goes on the back of the rim. You can see all the glue. It looks like it's adhered. Looks like it's a bead lock, but it's not. But you can definitely see the glue line all the way around the rim. And it looks like it's on there pretty good. Not a very ideal tool. It doesn't feel very good in the hand here. Kind of like a split kind of thing. Me, I would go ahead and throw a thread lock on there. So something that I really did like about the original Kaiju was it had this net. I actually never used it, but it was, I appreciated the fact that they at least gave you the net. I think I do have the original net as well. It's nice because it keeps the debris out of the vehicle from getting inside of the fans, from just keeping things clean. And I thought it was a great idea. Now, which is great, it does have a cooling heatsink and a fan for the motor that's in there. It does have the Velcro straps. This was a slight negative for me, because during one of my crashes on the original Kaiju, I ended up breaking this strap, but it may have been that just the battery pack itself maybe wasn't as secure as it could have been. This layout looks to be the exact same. Switch placement is on top of the servo. Not sure if I really like that switch placement, but probably makes it easier to reach in and flick this switch into the on position. So you can see it's got the aluminum housing, metal geared 25-gram servo right there. It does have Dean's connectors. It does have your plug end, so if you want to run one battery pack or if you want to run two. Looks like the wires definitely reach. So if you were going to run 2 packs, which I do have packs, but it is a Dean's connector. Not the best connectors out there, I have to say, but they probably couldn't put on anything other than this style of connector. Taking these connectors off is going to be very, very easy. I'll probably just desolder and then put on. In the past, I've made little adapters, which I like metal to metal adapters. You can buy adapters. This is not the adapter that you'd want to use. This is an XT60. This was for something else. See, to me, it always seemed like Dean's connectors, this is the type of adapter you would need, just always seemed like Dean's connectors seem to be that lower voltage or plug or amp rating. This is a TRX to EC5. This is, again, TRX, different style adapter to an XT90. This is a TRX to, see, you got a 60, and this is a, this is an adapter to go from a 90 to a 60. So this definitely will be the first mod that I'll be doing to this truck, is swapping out these connectors, because as it is right now, I don't have, I think, anything that, oh, wait a minute. I do have this 3S pack. This is a beast, but it won't fit inside the truck. So that ain't gonna work. See, everything that I've got now is EC5. I do still have a couple of batteries that have the connector on it, but we're only talking 2S pack, which is this one right here, which the vehicle will not run on. And I do have this 100C 3S pack right here, which might fit if I pop out a piece of foam. So there is a piece of foam in there. This wire that's going into the receiver box, not a very good placement of how this wire is. So we're going to have to check that out. They do have the hinged receiver box. Pop the top here. See what we're looking at. So it looks like there is not enough room for this wire. So this is a little bit of a negative. Putting in these bigger battery packs, you're definitely going to strain the wire coming into there. So first thing out of the box is I'm going to have to relocate this wire to a different location. It's not a watertight battery box.
Receiver box.
It does not have a seal that goes around. It's a water-resistant battery box.
Receiver box.
There isn't any foam or anything that's going to block any of this wiring. It's not going to block any water in there. It's going to help prevent, but this is not a sealed receiver box. So keep that in mind. If you wash your vehicles. If you wash your vehicles or you plan on submerging them like I do, keep in mind that that receiver box is not sealed. It's a shield. So it's kind of like the difference between a shielded bearing and a sealed bearing. That is a shielded receiver box case, not a sealed one. So this right off, this has to change. That is not going to work for me. I do not like the fact that that wire is hanging inside where the actual battery goes. I just see nothing. I see nothing good about this scenario right here. Looks like they should have put either an extension on there or figured out something else. Battery box itself, kind of cool. It is hinged, but it's not sealed. It's a shielded box. Yeah, you'll definitely be ripping that wire out. Wiring for the switch, a little loose. Wiring for the servo, kind of hanging out there. It's all right. ESC traveling inside there. I wonder if there's a different way to mount that box. Looks like the box is held in with stick tape. Could see a screw on the chassis. Might even be able to flip this around, you know that? You know what? Instead of doing another... Yeah, I see why they did that. Oh, it is screwed down. So it does look like that box is screwed down. I see a drain hole that is right down in there. Is more of a drain hole than anything because this is being a tub chassis. It also looks like there's a drain hole right there as well. So there's a drain hole there. There's a drain hole there. And on the battery, where the straps come through the chassis. So on the bottom here, you see we've got a drain hole there. I like the fact that they got Red Cat on the bottom of the chassis. Got a drain hole there, and a drain hole there, and then the tub section for the battery box, or the tub section for the battery, automatically will drain through the chassis right there. So I think here's the telltale right here. That is the telltale. So what I think I got to do a comparison video. To my eyes, it looks like this piece and this piece is factory original. So whatever the length of this is exactly how much bigger this RC is. And we're coming in at, I'm going to do it at the 2. We are coming in at under 2 inches. So we're coming in at 1 7/8 inches. So the vehicle is 1 7/8 inches bigger. That's exactly what it is. So this realistically all it is just, yeah, I definitely got to do a comparison. Everything's kind of looking the same. I almost want to turn this into a comparison video. It does have a metal servo horn. It's a very flexible wing, which will definitely be good on impacts. It does have the plastic little captured pieces here, hopefully to keep that wing tight. I wonder if this wheelie bar can fit on the original Kaiju, because that would be pretty slick, I think. And I wonder if the bumper will fit. Looks like you've got on this Kaiju, let's take this body off. Front shocks looks like it has several different styles of locations to change up the geometry of how this vehicle is. You've got 2 positions on the C-hub. You've got 3 positions on the arm. You got 3 positions on the shock tower. You've got 2 positions to change up the upper control arm. On the back, you've got 3 positions for the upper shock mount, 3 positions for the lower control arm. You've got 2 positions to change up the upper control arm. The wing is even adjustable. The way the wing is set up right now is it's in its lowermost aerodynamic state, providing the least amount of resistance and downforce. The way this is right now is at its least amount of downforce. So as you move those screws further out, it's going to kick and pivot that wing to increase the downforce even more. You now have an aero wing that's going to provide a certain amount of downforce. and you can play with that downforce. Obviously, you've got belted Interco tires. Definitely shows and says this is more of an on-road-ish tread pattern or more designed for speed runs. Also, being a longer chassis vehicle, it's kind of like indicative of that. Man, I'm using all kinds of big words. Indicative, unbeknownst. What's going on here, guy? This is a little bit of a different design. You can see there's another screw hole right there. And what that will do is that will change the wheelie bar's location and kick it more to an upward position. Definitely does have a more differently designed motor plate. You can see the motor plate is definitely a different design. So I am curious to know, is this a metal spur gear? Because I think in the original Kaiju, if I remember right, I think the original Kaiju was plastic. Oh, check it out. That is definitely a metal gear. That is an upgrade. Probably with the platform being larger, it needed to have all metal gears. That is a mint upgrade. I do like the way the wires are captured, but I am noticing a little something here. And this is something to keep in mind. So this is what took out my, was it my Big Rock? So see this right here? So I burned up an ESC. It looks like it's all right. It looks like the wire is just chafed. But I had burned up an ESC because these connectors had eventually rubbed on each other in something like that. And what had happened was the motor wires had obviously touched together, which burned out the ESC. So that might be something to check over. Not really a fan of stuffing it in there like that, but I guess it keeps it tight. The ESC is actually held down with a little hold down right there. So there's a little bit of a plastic hold down that's holding that ESC in. Not seeing one on the other side. So what is that? Is that literally all that's holding that ESC in? It is. It's a little, like a hold down block. That ESC is on stick tape. Oh, wait a minute. There's another hold down. Right there. So I move these. You can see the other hold down, which is right there. That's pretty cool, I guess. So it's got these little capture devices, these little hold downs that hold it down. And the ESC is in there with stick tape. That's a pretty good deal right there. Symbol right there. Little raindrop. But WP, which I'm assuming is waterproof 8BL150 RTR with the little red cat sticker right there. Just a Hobby Wing rebranded ESC. And then the motor, which is the 4068 2100 kV. So by removing 1, 2, 3 screws, you're able to get the new motor mount module out. It's a new clamping system, which seems kind of cool. The only thing that is a learning curve is it's not just by rotating this motor. So what it does is it's kind of a fixed rotating assembly in a way. And you are able to change the gearing. Not exactly sure how much gearing, but what I can say, as you can see, is I did have to use the piece of paper shim method because it's so limited, and watch what I'm talking about. Once you put this module back in place, because the positioning is so limited, and this is the way I do it. I usually use a finger to manipulate the spur gear, because trying to manipulate or trying to rotate the motor gear doesn't work because of the poles and the magnets. So what I would usually do is take my finger and rock back and forth the spur gear, and that would tell me my mesh. Well, with this, you kind of can't do that. So what I did do is this bolt right here. This is the clamping bolt, and that's what allows it to rotate. I did loosen the clamp. I took the mount out. I was looking at it, trying to figure out, what this new motor mount was all about. And then that's when I realized that you are limited on gearing. Not exactly sure how big it can go, but just by looking at this, you can see you could definitely get more torque out of it because we're not centrally located. So this can spin a little bit further towards the inboard section, getting a smaller pinion gear on. The wonderment is, do they have an optional spur gear? Looking in the manual, so that's when you break out the manual, which is something that I don't normally do. Looking in the manual, in English is the first section, normally on the back page is where you would go to find, and I do have to say that this manual is pretty good. It's a really good sized manual, but going back on the manual, I got to get the other camera. So looking in the manual, it's a very big manual, which is great. Good for visually impaired people. So looking in this manual, usually there'll be something where there's like an option thing, gives you all your ESC settings. So it's showing you basically how to do the ESC. It's called the programming flow chart. So this is the programming value chart. So number 1 is obviously set to 0 for drag brake. Number 2, forward, reverse, and brake. So you have the brake force to 50%. This doesn't apply because we're setting forward, reverse, brake. This would be if it was only forward and reverse. On low voltage cutoff, it's set at 3 volts for a cell. Start mode, which is punch, you can see it's set at level 5, and then max brake force, obviously that was set at 50%. So this is basically where we are on the programming of this truck. But I was trying to check gearing, and I think I'm going to have to go online to Redcat to see if there is a smaller gear available, because it goes into the next language. And if you go to the very back, it's basically the same thing. It just ends. So I'm not seeing anything that says anything about whether if you can upgrade to a smaller spur gear. And I don't believe you can, but I'm going to go check online right now and check and see if that's the case. Right now you can see, obviously, we got the Google window thing showed up. And this is where you want to go first to check to see if Redcat has your parts. You're going to go to Team, right there. So you can see teamredcatshop.com. That's where you're going to want to go. So Team Redcat. I'm going to go over to parts and accessories. Because the platform is essentially the same, they've made little changes. So granted, the motor mount is different. It's a different type of setup for the motor mount. But what I'm going to do is, you can see it says Kaiju parts. It doesn't look as though he's updated that. So I'm going to have to talk to him about that, see if he can get it updated. But basically, you can see anyways that you've got some upgrades. Let's just bump into the upgrades real quick. You've got the Kaiju steel spur gear for $15.99, which I don't believe. So there you go. Kaiju and the Kaiju EXT. So how many tooth is this gear? That's something I just don't even know. Steel spur gear. Doesn't look like. Yeah. But I know you can change opinions. So there was the curiosity. So you've got, oh, wait a minute. A 48 tooth metal spur gear. This looks like a hybrid. This looks like this is the gear that comes in this truck. Compatibility, Kaiju and Kaiju EXT. So this is a 48 tooth spur gear. This is what this truck has. But that's like a hybrid, because that looks like it's a plastic surround. And it looks like somehow the gear is on there. So the 48 tooth is $13,884 for $10. Huh. When this one, what is this one? Is this a smaller gear? See, it's not saying. Now, I don't remember if I don't want to have to count all the teeth. Do I literally have to count all the teeth? I am going to stinking count the teeth. Can't believe I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this right here. So I can start on the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 48. So it's still the 48 tooth gear. What's the difference? So that's all steel versus this one, which is like it looks like it's a hybrid. It looks like the gear itself is steel and the inner part is like a plastic, it kind of looks like. This is obviously way more of a video than you bargained for, but what I've got to tell you is that's what you get when you come over to RC Guy Garage. We're going to give it all to you. We're going to give it all to you straight. So anyways, now I have to check what this Kaiju EXT has. So I know the original Kaiju, the blue one, the original Kaiju version 1, which is like the Outcast of Kaiju, that one had a plastic spur gear. That was then upgraded to an all-metal spur gear. That was the upgrade for it. Now this one comes with a metal spur gear, but to me it looks like it's a hybrid. So I don't want to think they would take two dissimilar metals and swedge them together. That just kind of feels like it doesn't make any sense, but I have to look into it. So now we're going to take the truck, I'm going to flip it upside down and check and see what's actually in this package. Like, what's the deal? Is it plastic? Like, is it a metal gear with a plastic inside? That's what it looks like. But I mean, I suppose it could be metal. It just wouldn't make sense. I did place an order, by the way. But yeah, you just don't know what it is. All right. So now the curiosity has killed the cat. Now I need to see what's going on here. So I need my driver with a couple bits. And I'm gonna take this off like I know how the regular Kaiju worked out. And that would be taking off this piece and this piece. This piece needs to come first. Technically, this piece comes second, but I'll pull all the screws anyway, all at the same time. So these screws should all be the same. So I'm assuming 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 screws. These 10 screws should all be the same. And it's funny, these two screws are different than all of these others. Like, just visually. These two screws are different looking. What? What the hell? Wait a minute. What is that? It's a different size. Why is that? These two screws are a different size. Well, that doesn't matter. I don't know why they're a different size. All right. Change the bit out to the bigger size. This piece usually comes first because it overlays this piece, and then this piece pops off. So there we go. So what I'm seeing is it definitely looks like it needs differential fluid. It does have fluid in there, But from what my eyes can see, the fluid really isn't doing anything. So I'm going to go give it the RC Guy Garage treatment. And go ahead and smear it with some orange. This is just the way I do it. Look at how it balls up on there. That's some premium. That's going to be mint. Look at that. You could watch that for days. All right. So it's definitely going to need some stuff there. But that's not really what we were looking at. So I was trying to do is I was trying to check to see what the material of this gear was. I'm going to get this out of the way just so I can see it a little bit better. This is a bearing cap. And you can see now the gear is revealed. And it's definitely a composite or a plastic. Okay. I had the suspicion that it was, but I just had to confirm. So, and that's, you know, the easiest way to do it is to just confirm. And what I want to do now is I do want to check the front as well. So these two screws, 1, 2, 3, 4, those are all going to be the same size. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ooh, these ones are longer. No, they're not. They're the same size. They definitely just go into something. Alright, so front little cover piece is held on by another screw, I think, that goes that way for some reason. Yep. Got that one cover screw that goes right there. So, see that one screw that's right there? Now, this should come off. Yep. That comes off. Get yourself a good look at the steering componentry. Get yourself a good look at the fact that this piece right here is something that should be ordered. That's that aluminum steering block. The aluminum steering block. The aluminum steering something, I forget what it's called. You should definitely go ahead and just order that now. Seeing that the grease is the same as what it was before, I'm going to go ahead and while this is cracked open, I'm going to go ahead and just add my grease right in there. And we'll do it right like this. And I'm going to leave that just like that. And as the truck runs, the truck will turn the grease in. And we will button this thing right back up. Get that middle front screw there. So like I was saying is, I think what's going to be important is more seeing the updates that I'm seeing in this truck. Can you swap them over to the original truck? So there is going to be a rather good size or sizable video coming up that's doing a comparison between the original Red Cat Racing Kaiju and the EXT. Overall, why is this truck here? This truck is here because the Red Cat Racing Kaiju, the original one, the changes that Red Cat Racing did were so positive on the original Kaiju that them just extending the chassis, which it looks like that's exactly what it is, them extending the chassis, I still think it's more than that. I'm gonna have to do a comparison video. So anyways, this is RC Guy Garage. You can see what we did unbox. Put a comment down below whether if you think you were right or not. I don't know what else to say, man. It's just a longer vehicle. It's a longer vehicle with essentially the same power system. From what I can see, it's essentially the same exact vehicle. It's a stretched out chassis. They changed or upgraded the tires. It's definitely a different style of tire. They are belted, which is those the Interco Sniper MTs. It is a belted tire, which will probably help on road. This definitely seems like it might be geared maybe towards, and I say geared, definitely seems like this is more geared to speed runs. It has a wing on it. The original didn't. The original was more of a compact design, but when you look and see how vehicles are done, man, this thing is mint. So anyways, this is RC Guy Garage. If you weren't a part of buying into the Red Cat Racing original Kaiju, this one may be a win. We're going to take this thing out. We're going to speed rip it. We're going to see. I'm going to do more of a comparison video. So my next video is literally going to be a comparison video. I'm going to compare an original Red Cat Racing Kaiju. I will do what's called a comparison. A real deal comparison. I'm liking what I'm seeing of the new one because essentially the new one is just a stretched out version of the old one. And as far as parts compatibility, from what I can see, they're exactly the same. So it will be interesting. Can we turn this into the bruising basher that this thing is? Don't forget about that merch, guy. But like I always say, just get out there and rip it. Yeah, I stabbed myself. You didn't see it. I stabbed myself with the driver trying to put a screw on. What else is new?